The collar was locked around Jennifer Martinez's neck. The digital timer glowed red in the dim bank lobby. 2 minutes and 14 seconds. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. The bomb squad was still outside setting up equipment. The negotiator's voice crackled through the phone, but nobody was listening anymore. Jennifer was 23 years old. She had gotten engaged 2 weeks ago. The ring was still new on her finger. She could feel the weight of the device pressing against her collarbone. Cold metal. Wires running down inside her shirt. The lead suspect stood 5 feet away, holding the detonator. He called himself Reaper. Real name, Marcus Webb. 38 years old. Armed robbery, assault, parole violation. This was his 4th bank job. He had promised to release 1 hostage every hour if his demands were met. It was now 4:17 p.m. on March 7, 2003. The siege had started at 9:42 a.m. 7 hours, 17 hostages total, 6 suspects, no food, no water. Jennifer's mother was outside the police perimeter. The news helicopter circled overhead. The timer hit 1 minute and 59 seconds. Captain Robert Davis watched through the scope from across the street. He had been a hostage negotiator for 16 years. He had talked down 12 armed situations. He had never lost a hostage. The collar around Jennifer's neck changed everything. 1 minute and 45 seconds. The SWAT commander wanted to breach. The FBI agent wanted to wait. The bomb tech said the collar was professionally made. Military-grade explosives, remote detonation capability, manual timer as backup. Reaper's finger rested on the trigger. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Jennifer closed her eyes. Subscribe now and leave in the comments, what city are you watching from? 9:42 a.m. had started like any other Friday morning at First National Bank in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Jennifer Martinez had clocked in at 8:30 a.m. She was a teller, 3rd window from the left. She had worked there for 14 months. The bank manager was David Sherman, 51 years old, 23 years with the company. He was reviewing loan applications in his office when the front doors burst open. 6 men, black masks, body armor, AR-15 rifles. The whole thing took 11 seconds. Customers hit the floor. David Sherman pressed the silent alarm. The alarm went straight to Phoenix Police Department. Squad cars were rolling within 90 seconds. The lead suspect moved fast. He vaulted the counter, grabbed Jennifer by her hair, pressed a pistol against her temple. His voice was cold, practiced. "This is a robbery. Nobody moves. Nobody dies." His name was Marcus Webb, but he told everyone to call him Reaper. The 5 other suspects spread out through the bank. They knew exactly where to go. One covered the front door. One covered the back exit. One controlled the customers on the floor. One grabbed David Sherman from his office. One started clearing the vault. This was not their first job together. Marcus Webb had planned this for 6 months. He had studied the bank's security systems, the camera blind spots, the police response times, the vault's time lock schedule, everything. What he had not planned for was the construction crew working on the building next door. The crew had blocked the back alley with their truck. The getaway van could not get through. Marcus Webb realized this at 9:44 a.m., 2 minutes into the robbery. The police sirens were already getting closer. His whole plan had just collapsed. He grabbed his radio, told his crew they had a problem. That was when everything changed from a robbery into a hostage situation. The first police units arrived at 9:46 a.m. They found the front doors locked. Movement inside. No shots fired yet. Sergeant Linda Chen was first on scene. She immediately called for backup and established a perimeter. By 10 a.m., the entire block was locked down. 17 hostages were trapped inside. 3 bank employees, including Jennifer Martinez and David Sherman. 14 customers, ages ranging from 19 to 72. Among them was Margaret Foster, 72 years old, diabetic. She needed her insulin shot by noon. There was Daniel Cooper, 34 years old, off-duty firefighter. He had come in to deposit his paycheck. There was Amanda Price, 28 years old, pregnant, 7 months along. Her husband was deployed overseas with the Marines. These were the people whose lives now depended on what happened next. Marcus Webb made his first call to police at 10:12 a.m. His demands were simple: $200,000 in unmarked bills, a helicopter, safe passage to the Mexican border. He gave them until noon. Captain Robert Davis arrived at 10:25 a.m. He was the department's lead hostage negotiator. Bald head, reading glasses. Calm voice that never changed tone no matter what was happening. He had Marcus Webb's criminal file within 10 minutes. Armed robbery in 1997. Served 4 years. Paroled in 2001. Arrested again 6 months ago for assault. Released on bail, skipped his court date. There was a warrant out. Marcus Webb was not going back to prison. He had made that clear in his first phone call. The situation inside the bank was deteriorating fast. Margaret Foster's blood sugar was dropping. She told David Sherman she felt dizzy. He asked Marcus Webb if she could have her medication from her purse. Marcus Webb said no. Nobody touches anything. Amanda Price was having contractions. Stress-induced. Not labor yet, but getting worse. The temperature inside the bank was rising. The air conditioning had been shut off as part of standard police procedure. Cut the power. Make them uncomfortable. Force them out. But Marcus Webb had planned for that too. He had brought battery-powered fans, bottled water for his crew, nothing for the hostages. By 11 a.m., 3 news helicopters were circling overhead. The story was breaking national. Local stations interrupted programming. Armed standoff in downtown Phoenix. 17 hostages. 6 suspects. FBI was en route from the Phoenix field office. Captain Davis kept calling the bank's main line. Marcus Webb picked up every time but never talked for more than 30 seconds. Yes or no answers. No negotiation. The deadline was noon. It was now 11:15 a.m. Davis knew the clock was working against him. He tried a different approach. He asked Marcus Webb about his family, his childhood, anything to build rapport. Marcus Webb hung up, called back 2 minutes later, said if Davis tried that psychology bullshit again, he would shoot a hostage. Davis believed him. At 11:32 a.m., Margaret Foster collapsed. Daniel Cooper, the off-duty firefighter, caught her before she hit the floor. He told Marcus Webb she was dying. She needed her insulin immediately. Marcus Webb walked over, looked down at her. She was unconscious, breathing shallow. He grabbed her purse, found the insulin pen, threw it to Daniel Cooper, told him he had 60 seconds to do whatever needed doing. Daniel Cooper administered the injection. Margaret Foster's eyes fluttered open. Marcus Webb kicked the insulin pen across the floor, told everyone that was the only medical help they would get. At 11:45 a.m., the FBI arrived. Special Agent Thomas Rodriguez, 41 years old, 15 years with the Bureau. He had handled 17 hostage situations. 12 had ended with negotiated surrenders. 4 had ended with tactical intervention. 1 had ended badly. He did not talk about that one. Rodriguez took command of the scene. Captain Davis briefed him on everything that had happened. Rodriguez listened, asked questions, reviewed the building schematics. The bank was a single-story structure built in 1978. Reinforced concrete. Limited entry points. Large windows in front but bulletproof glass. 1 front door. 1 back door. 1 side emergency exit that was welded shut for security reasons. The vault was in the center of the building. No windows. 1 way in. Marcus Webb had positioned his crew perfectly. They had overlapping fields of fire. Any breach would result in casualties. Rodriguez asked Davis what his gut said. Davis said Marcus Webb was serious. He would kill hostages if pushed. Rodriguez agreed. They decided to let the noon deadline pass without responding to the demands. Test Marcus Webb's resolve. See if he was bluffing. At 11:58 a.m., Marcus Webb called. Asked if they had his money and helicopter. Rodriguez took the call. Identified himself as FBI. Said they were working on it but needed more time. Marcus Webb said he gave them until noon. Rodriguez said these things take time. Paperwork. Approvals. Marcus Webb said he did not care about their paperwork. Rodriguez asked him to be reasonable. Marcus Webb laughed. Said reasonable went out the window when his exit got blocked. He hung up. Noon came and went. Nothing happened. No shots fired. No hostages released. Marcus Webb did not call back. Rodriguez and Davis waited. 1 p.m. Still nothing. At 1:37 p.m. something changed. One of the suspects, named Eddie Vance, started arguing with Marcus Webb. Eddie was 29 years old, Marcus Webb's cousin. He had been involved in 2 of Marcus Webb's previous jobs. He was getting nervous. The police had been outside for 4 hours. The FBI was there now. This was bigger than they planned. He wanted to surrender. Let the hostages go. Take whatever deal they could get. Marcus Webb told him to shut up. Eddie Vance kept talking, said this was stupid. They were trapped. There was no helicopter coming. No escape. They should cut their losses. Marcus Webb hit him. Pistol whipped him across the face. Eddie Vance went down, blood from his nose. Marcus Webb stood over him, told the others this was what happened to quitters. Nobody else spoke. At 2:15 p.m., Marcus Webb made another call. His voice had changed. More edge, less control. He told Rodriguez he wanted proof they were actually working on his demands. Rodriguez asked what kind of proof. Marcus Webb said bring the money to the front door. Show it through the window. Then they could talk about the helicopter. Rodriguez said he could not do that. Standard procedure was no exchange until hostages were released. Marcus Webb said then people were going to start dying. He hung up. Rodriguez immediately called for the SWAT commander, Lieutenant James Morrison, 36 years old, former Army Ranger. He had 16 operators ready to go. They had been in position since 10:30 a.m. Snipers on the rooftops. Entry team staged in the building next door. Less lethal options. Flashbangs, tear gas, breaching charges. Everything they needed. Rodriguez asked Morrison for options. Morrison said they could breach the front and back simultaneously, use flashbangs for distraction, suppress the suspects before they could react. Estimated time from breach to control was 90 seconds. Rodriguez asked about casualties. Morrison said honestly he could not guarantee 0. The suspects had good positions, good weapons, good discipline. They would fight. Rodriguez decided to wait. At 2:43 p.m. Jennifer Martinez needed to use the bathroom. She asked Marcus Webb. He pointed to the corner, said go there. She said she could not in front of everyone. He said then, hold it. She started crying. Amanda Price, the pregnant woman, spoke up, told Marcus Webb to let her use the employee bathroom. Show some decency. Marcus Webb walked over to Amanda Price, put his rifle barrel against her stomach, asked if she wanted to be the first example. Amanda Price stopped talking. David Sherman, the bank manager, offered a solution. He said the employee bathroom was just down the hall. No windows, no exits. He would go with Jennifer Martinez. Guarantee she did not try anything. Marcus Webb considered this. Finally agreed. Told David Sherman if anything went wrong, he would kill Amanda Price first. David Sherman and Jennifer Martinez walked down the hall. Marcus Webb kept his rifle trained on them the entire time. They came back 3 minutes later. Nothing happened, but something had changed between them. A look, a quick whisper that nobody else heard. David Sherman had told Jennifer Martinez something that would matter later. At 3:20 p.m., Marcus Webb's patience ran out. He called Rodriguez, said he was done waiting. He wanted his demands met in the next 60 minutes, or he would start executing hostages, 1 every 30 minutes, starting with the youngest. Rodriguez tried to talk him down. Marcus Webb was not listening. He wanted results, action, proof they were taking him seriously. Rodriguez made a decision. He told Marcus Webb they had the money ready, $200,000. They could bring it to the front door in 30 minutes, show it through the window like he asked. But first, Marcus Webb had to release 5 hostages, show good faith. Marcus Webb said no. Rodriguez said then there was no deal. They were at an impasse. Marcus Webb thought about it, said fine. He would release 2 hostages. Rodriguez said 4. Marcus Webb said 3, and that was final. Rodriguez agreed. At 3:41 p.m., the front door opened. 3 hostages walked out. Margaret Foster, the diabetic woman, a 19-year-old college student named Tyler Brooks, a 47-year-old accountant named Richard Wells. They were shaking, crying. Police officers rushed forward and pulled them to safety. Paramedics checked them immediately. All 3 were dehydrated, but otherwise unharmed. Margaret Foster was taken to the hospital as a precaution. Tyler Brooks and Richard Wells were taken to a command post for debriefing. They told investigators everything they had seen inside: the layout, the suspects' positions, their weapons, their state of mind. Tyler Brooks mentioned something else. He said one of the suspects seemed different, younger, scared, kept arguing with the leader. FBI agents made note of this. At 4:10 p.m., an armored vehicle approached the front of the bank. A large duffel bag was placed on the ground, visible through the window. The vehicle retreated. Marcus Webb sent one of his crew to check it. The suspect, named Tommy Cruz, 31 years old, 2 prior armed robberies. He opened the front door slightly, grabbed the bag, brought it inside, unzipped it, stacks of bills. He showed Marcus Webb. Marcus Webb smiled for the first time all day, called Rodriguez, said good. Now they were making progress. Rodriguez asked about the helicopter. Marcus Webb said one step at a time. First, he needed to verify the money was real. Rodriguez had anticipated this. Every bill in that bag was marked, every serial number recorded. If Marcus Webb spent a single dollar, the FBI would know exactly where. But Rodriguez did not mention that. At 4:35 p.m., one of the suspects noticed something outside, a reflection, a glint of light, sniper scope on a rooftop. He alerted Marcus Webb. Marcus Webb realized they were being targeted. He grabbed Jennifer Martinez, dragged her to the center of the lobby, away from windows, called Rodriguez, asked how stupid they thought he was. Rodriguez said nobody was trying anything. The snipers were standard procedure. Marcus Webb said if he saw another scope, he would kill someone. Rodriguez believed him, ordered all snipers to reposition away from visible sightlines. But the damage was done. Marcus Webb's paranoia was escalating. At 4:53 p.m., Eddie Vance tried again. Told Marcus Webb this was over. They had the money. They should surrender. Take the deal while they could. Marcus Webb turned on him, asked if he was wearing a wire. Eddie Vance said no. Marcus Webb did not believe him, told him to take off his shirt. Eddie Vance refused. Marcus Webb raised his pistol. The other suspects watched. Nobody moved. Eddie Vance slowly removed his shirt. No wire. Marcus Webb stared at him. Then he made a decision that changed everything. He told Tommy Cruz to bring him the special package from the vault. Tommy Cruz hesitated, asked if he was sure. Marcus Webb said, "Do it now." Tommy Cruz went to the vault, came back carrying a metal case. Marcus Webb opened it. Inside was a bomb collar, custom-made, plastic explosive molded into a curved shape, digital timer, remote detonator, wires, battery pack. Marcus Webb had stolen it 6 months ago from a military contractor's warehouse. He had been saving it for a situation exactly like this: insurance, leverage, the ultimate bargaining chip. He grabbed Jennifer Martinez. She screamed, fought. Daniel Cooper tried to intervene. One of the other suspects hit him with a rifle butt. Daniel Cooper went down. Marcus Webb forced the collar around Jennifer Martinez's neck, locked it, activated the timer, set it for 30 minutes, 29 minutes and 59 seconds. The display glowed red. Jennifer Martinez was hyperventilating. Marcus Webb called Rodriguez. Told him the situation had changed. He had just put a bomb collar on a hostage. If his demands were not met in 30 minutes, she would die. If police tried to breach, she would die. If snipers took a shot, the remote detonator would trigger, and she would die. Rodriguez asked him not to do this. Marcus Webb said it was already done. The clock was running. Rodriguez immediately called for the bomb squad. Sergeant Michael Chen, 28 years old, explosive ordnance disposal certified. He had defused 47 devices in his career. He grabbed his kit and ran to the command post. Rodriguez showed him photos taken through the bank windows. Long-range telephoto. The collar was visible. Michael Chen studied the images. His face went pale. He recognized the design. Military grade. Sophisticated. This was not something some bank robber threw together. This was professional. He told Rodriguez the bad news. If that timer hit 0, or if the remote was triggered, there was no way to stop it. The blast radius would kill everyone within 15 feet, injure anyone within 30 feet. The bank's walls might contain some of the explosion, but not all. Rodriguez asked if they could jam the remote signal. Michael Chen said maybe, But if the device had an anti-tamper feature, jamming could trigger it immediately. Too risky. Rodriguez asked what options they had. Michael Chen said only one. Get someone inside who could remove it before the timer ran out. Someone trained. Someone fast. Someone willing to die if they made a mistake. At 5:27 p.m., Jennifer Martinez had 23 minutes left. Marcus Webb was on the phone with Rodriguez laying out his new demands. The helicopter had to be on the roof of the building across the street in 20 minutes. Fueled, pilot inside, rotors running. The money stays with them. All 6 suspects and Jennifer Martinez board the helicopter. They fly to the Mexican border. Once they are safely across, Marcus Webb would call with the code to disarm the caller. Someone could come get Jennifer Martinez then. Rodriguez said that was not acceptable. Marcus Webb said those were the terms, non-negotiable. Rodriguez tried to reason with him. Said even if they agreed, Mexico would never allow it. Marcus Webb said that was not his problem. Figure it out. 19 minutes left. Rodriguez made a desperate play. He said, what if they gave Marcus Webb and one other suspect safe passage? Let the other 4 surrender. Release all hostages, including Jennifer Martinez, 1 helicopter, 2 people. That was the best deal he would ever get. Marcus Webb considered it. Asked which suspect could go with him. Rodriguez said his choice. Marcus Webb looked at his crew. Eddie Vance was still angry. Tommy Cruz was solid but too hot-headed. There was Jake Morrison, 42 years old. Marcus Webb's cellmate from his first stretch. Reliable. There was Carlos Diaz, 26 years old. Weapons expert. Good in a fight. There was Leon Wright, 33 years old. Driver. Getaway specialist. Marcus Webb realized something in that moment. None of them were making it out. Not really. Even if they got the helicopter, even if they made it to Mexico, the FBI would hunt them forever. The bomb collar was supposed to be insurance, but it had become a noose around all of them. At 5:42 p.m. Marcus Webb told Rodriguez no deal. 16 minutes left on the timer. Jennifer Martinez was praying, her lips moving silently. The Our Father. Hail Mary. Anything she could remember. David Sherman was trying to keep her calm, talking to her quietly, telling her it would be okay. He did not believe it, but he said it anyway. Amanda Price was having contractions again, closer together now. Real labor might be starting. Daniel Cooper had a gash on his forehead from where he got hit, but he was conscious. The other 11 hostages were pressed against the far wall, some crying, some silent, all terrified. Outside, Rodriguez was out of options. He called Lieutenant Morrison, told him to prepare for tactical intervention. Morrison asked when. Rodriguez said on his mark. They had to time it perfectly. Wait too long and Jennifer Martinez dies. Move too early and Marcus Webb triggers the device. Morrison briefed his team. 2 entry points, front and back, simultaneous breach. Flashbangs first, then tear gas. Then operators flood in. Suppress all 6 suspects. Secure the hostages. Get the bomb tech to Jennifer Martinez. Estimated time 12 seconds from breach to collar. The risk was enormous. Marcus Webb had his finger on the remote detonator. If he pressed it before they could stop him, everyone near Jennifer Martinez would die. Rodriguez called the Phoenix police chief, briefed him on the situation, asked for authorization to breach. The chief asked about odds of success. Rodriguez said honestly, 50-50. The chief was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, do it. Save as many as you can. 14 minutes left. Rodriguez gave Morrison the signal. Prepare to breach in 10 minutes. Morrison's team moved into final positions. Snipers reacquired targets through windows despite Marcus Webb's warning. If they got a clean shot during the breach, they were authorized to take it. Michael Chen, the bomb tech, was ready. Blast suit on. Tools prepared. He would go in immediately after the entry team. He had studied the photos. He knew what he was looking for. The collar had a release mechanism. 4 screws. Remove them and the device separates. Then clip the right wire. Blue or red. He had to guess right. One mistake and Jennifer Martinez dies. At 5:51 p.m. something unexpected happened. Eddie Vance stood up, walked toward Marcus Webb. Said this was insane. They needed to surrender now. Save themselves. Marcus Webb told him to sit down. Eddie Vance kept walking. Said he was done. He was going out that door and turning himself in. Marcus Webb raised the remote detonator, said if Eddie Vance took one more step, he would press the button. Eddie Vance stopped. He looked at Jennifer Martinez, at the timer around her neck, 11 minutes and 43 seconds. He looked back at Marcus Webb, said, "You won't do it. We're family." Marcus Webb's hand was shaking. Eddie Vance took another step. Marcus Webb did not press the button. Eddie Vance took another step, then another. He reached the front door, put his hand on the handle, looked back one more time. Marcus Webb was still holding the detonator, but he had not pressed it. Eddie Vance opened the door, walked out with his hands up. SWAT operators grabbed him, pulled him to safety, secured him. 1 suspect down, 5 remaining. Inside the bank, Marcus Webb was losing control. His own cousin had just walked out on him. His whole crew watched it happen. He could see doubt in their eyes. 10 minutes left on the timer. Marcus Webb made another call. This time his voice was different, quieter, almost resigned. He told Rodriguez it was over. He knew it. They knew it. But he was not going to prison. Not again. He would rather die. Rodriguez asked him to think about the hostages. Think about Jennifer Martinez. She was innocent. She had a family, a fiancé, a whole life ahead of her. Marcus Webb said he knew. That was why he was going to make a deal. One final offer. He would release all the hostages except Jennifer Martinez. All 14 people walk out right now. Then he and his 4 remaining crew members would surrender. But Jennifer Martinez stays until they are all in custody and safely in transport vehicles heading to the detention center. Once they are locked up, Marcus Webb would give the code to disarm the collar. Rodriguez said he could not agree to that. Too much risk. Marcus Webb said it was the only way. Rodriguez asked for time to think. Marcus Webb said no more time. He was releasing the hostages now. The front door opened. 14 people came out. David Sherman, Amanda Price, Daniel Cooper, 11 others. Police rushed forward, pulled them to safety. Paramedics swarmed them. Amanda Price was taken directly to an ambulance. Her contractions were 5 minutes apart. She was transported to the hospital. She would deliver a healthy baby girl 3 hours later. Named her Jennifer after the hostage still trapped inside. Back at the command post, Rodriguez faced an impossible decision. Jennifer Martinez was alone inside with 5 armed suspects and a bomb collar. 8 minutes and 37 seconds on the timer. If they breached now, they might save her. Or Marcus Webb might trigger the device out of spite. If they waited for Marcus Webb to surrender and give them the code, they might save her. Or he might be lying. The code might not work. Or there might not be a code at all. Rodriguez asked Michael Chen, the bomb tech, what he thought. Michael Chen said the only way to be sure was to get hands on the device. Manually disarm it. Rodriguez asked how long that would take. Michael Chen said if everything went perfectly, 2 minutes. If anything went wrong, it did not matter how long, because they would all be dead. Rodriguez made his decision. He told Morrison to hold the breach. They would play this out. See if Marcus Webb actually surrendered. Morrison did not like it, but he obeyed. At 5:58 p.m., Marcus Webb and his 4 remaining crew members walked out of the bank. Hands up, weapons left inside. SWAT operators moved in, secured all 5 suspects, searched them, cuffed them. Tommy Cruz was shouting that they surrendered. They had a deal. Marcus Webb was silent. They were loaded into separate vehicles. Rodriguez walked up to Marcus Webb's vehicle, asked for the code. Marcus Webb smiled. Said what code? Rodriguez felt his stomach drop. He grabbed Marcus Webb, demanded the code. Marcus Webb laughed, said there was no code. The collar was set for 30 minutes. No remote override, no manual disarm, just a timer. Jennifer Martinez had 4 minutes and 12 seconds left. Rodriguez ran for the bank, shouted for Michael Chen. They had to get that collar off now. No code, no time. Do it manually or she dies. Michael Chen sprinted into the bank. Blast suit slowing him down, but necessary. He found Jennifer Martinez in the center of the lobby. She was sitting on the floor, collar around her neck. Timer at 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Her eyes were closed. Michael Chen knelt beside her, told her his name, told her he was going to get this thing off. She opened her eyes, asked if he was sure. He said yes, He lied. He was not sure at all. He examined the collar. 4 screws like he thought. He pulled out his tools, started working. First screw came out clean. Second screw stripped. The thread was damaged. He had to drill it out. 3 minutes and 9 seconds. He grabbed his portable drill. Careful pressure. Too much force and the vibration might trigger an anti-tamper switch. The screw came loose. 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Third screw was tight. He applied more torque. It would not budge. He tried a different angle. The screw started to turn. Slowly. 2 minutes and 24 seconds. The screw came out. 1 more. Fourth screw was clean, came out smooth. 2 minutes and 6 seconds. The collar separated into 2 halves. He pulled it away from Jennifer Martinez's neck. She gasped, tried to stand. He told her to wait. The device was still active. He needed to cut the right wire, blue or red. He studied the mechanism. Standard military design. Normally blue was ground, red was hot. Cut the red wire and the circuit breaks. But military devices sometimes used reverse polarity. Cut the wrong wire and it completes the circuit. Instant detonation. 1 minute and 42 seconds. He traced the wires with his eyes, followed them from the battery to the timer to the explosive. Blue wire ran directly to the detonator. Red wire ran through a relay. That meant blue was hot, red was ground. It was backwards. If he had guessed wrong, Jennifer Martinez would have died. He clipped the blue wire. The timer stopped. 1 minute and 18 seconds frozen on the display. Jennifer Martinez collapsed. Michael Chen caught her, told her it was over. She was safe. She started crying. He carried her out of the bank. Outside, Rodriguez saw them emerge. Jennifer Martinez, alive. Collar deactivated. He exhaled for the first time in 8 hours. Paramedics took Jennifer Martinez, checked her vitals. She was in shock, but physically unharmed. She was transported to the hospital for observation. Released the next day. Marcus Webb and his 4 crew members were charged with kidnapping, armed robbery, possession of explosives, and 16 counts of false imprisonment. Federal charges. Marcus Webb received 45 years. No parole. Tommy Cruz received 32 years. Jake Morrison received 30 years. Carlos Diaz received 28 years. Leon Wright received 25 years. Eddie Vance, who surrendered first, received 15 years in exchange for testimony. Jennifer Martinez never went back to work at the bank. She married her fiancé 6 months later. They moved to Colorado, started a family. She does not talk about what happened on March 7, 2003. The bomb collar is in evidence storage at the FBI Phoenix field office. The bank reopened 3 weeks after the siege. They installed new security, hired a trauma counselor for the staff. David Sherman retired. He could not go back after what he saw. Amanda Price's daughter, Jennifer, is now a healthy young woman. She knows the story of her name. Daniel Cooper returned to his job as a firefighter. He received a commendation for his actions during the siege. Margaret Foster lived another 12 years. She died in 2015 surrounded by family. Michael Chen received the FBI's Star of Valor for his actions that day. He is now the chief bomb technician for the Phoenix field office. Captain Robert Davis negotiated 17 more hostage situations before retiring in 2015. He never lost a hostage. The 7-hour siege at First National Bank remains one of the longest in Phoenix history. It ended with all hostages alive, all suspects in custody. The bomb collar disarmed with 1 minute and 18 seconds remaining. Subscribe now and leave in the comments. What city are you watching from?